Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Innovations of Agriculture. As you can see, I still haven't gotten rid of this little sunlight trail that always seems to bug me. But I wanted just to welcome you back, and it's really heating up here in January. And you know, all of our hard work. It's one of those things that you keep working, you keep working, you keep working, and the good things pay off. All that ever pays off. And now we got a lot of the farmers who are understandably busy during the course of their season and now jumping on board with the Luminosity plant booster. And of course, we couldn't be happier. But in any case, we wanted just to discuss different forms of innovation, because I think sometimes when we talk to people and we talk about innovation, we talk about revolutionizing the agriculture, or we talk about improving. I think a lot of farmers have been telling us that that's a little bit scary to them. They don't want to change. They don't want to do things. They want to keep doing things that they know and stick with what they're used to and what they know, because I think there's a certain amount of certainty, right, that you get from practices that work. And of course, we of course agree with that. You should do the things that work. The most important thing to keep in mind when you're looking at innovative products or new things or different ways of doing things is, how is this going to affect my farm from a total cost of ownership perspective, right? Not just how much does the particular item cost, but also how much does it cost in terms of maintenance? How much does it cost in terms of electricity or other types of resources needed? If you buy a tractor, for example, and you pay $200,000 for a tractor, that's not the total cost of ownership, right? I mean, that's $200,000 for the tractor. That's the gas to run it for a year might be another $10,000 or $5,000, something like that. Then you have whatever you're using the tractor for, like over the time, the maintenance of it to keep all the attachments and stuff working right. There's a total cost of ownership associated with that. And the cool thing about our system, the Luminosity Plant Booster, is there really is no maintenance or other costs. Once you pay for the device and install it, it lasts for 2 years, and that's your total cost of ownership. So, and the other cool thing about it is this type of innovation doesn't require you to change the way you're farming. Now, what we've noticed is organic farmers and natural farmers seem to get a lot better results with Luminosity Plant Booster than conventional farmers. And the reason we think that is because with conventional farming, when you're using petrochemicals, yes, you're getting certain improvements in terms of yield or pest resistance or those types of things, but you're also sort of poisoning the soil and you're harming yourself. So you take 3 steps forward and then you take 1 step back. And so it becomes a little bit more challenging to get continual benefits. Now, with our system, what we're seeing is farmers who are organic or using very limited amount of petrochemicals with pesticides and those types of things, is that they don't have that step back. They don't have that damage that the petrochemicals is being done. So when our system wakes up the microbes in the soil and it wakes up the plants themselves and make them more efficient at absorbing and utilizing nutrients, then of course we get better results. They get a much bigger improvement. And part of that might be too, there's maybe more room for improvement in some cases too. Like you're seeing organic growers that are now rivaling and even surpassing conventional growers. And 3 or 4 years ago, that statement would have been impossible. Would have thought to have been completely impossible that organic growers can surpass yield of conventional guys. And that's why conventional guys use so many chemicals in the first place, right? Because they get the extra yield. But the organic growers are starting to tell us, hey, we're seeing 20, 30, 50% increases in yield. And it's not just a matter of small incremental improvements. We're seeing better, faster growth rates. We're seeing better yield. We're seeing better quality. We're seeing all these different factors with the system. So, but the cool thing is, I wanted to showcase this with you. I'm not going to go through an entire presentation with you. What I wanted to show you, though, is a little bit here on how our system works and how we're able to do what we're doing. So this picture here you're going to see here shows the 2 ways that our system is installed. And it really depends on the farming, the layout of your farm. If you have a very small farm or you're wanting to try it out on a small area, like a few rows or a couple of acres, we have these pre-made pipe fittings that are attached right into the irrigation line, and you can actually just plumb them right in. It's very easy to use. And essentially, once they're plumbed in, it's a set it and forget it type of a thing. You just water your crops the way you normally would, and our system is going to do the rest. Same thing with our bigger systems, which are designed for full field applications where we install on the pump or water source. Those transmitters are just attached to the outside of the pump. But once they're installed, again, you don't have to run wires or have electricity or have these other big units that are attached to it and getting invasive and getting in the way. They're literally just right to the outside of the pump or water source. And once they're installed, they're good to go. You don't need to, they're self-powered. You don't need to provide external power. You don't need to provide any other equipment. It's just essentially attached to there, and then our system does the rest. So the cool thing about this is what farmers are telling us they like most about it is this is not something where they feel like have to change all their farming around. They don't have to completely, have a crew come out and spend 3 days just trying to install this thing on their pump or something like that. It's literally like a 20 or 30-minute process where somebody can come in and just attach it right to the outside of their water pump. And then they just run the pump and then take a few water samples and you're done. And then every time you water thereafter for 2 years, our system is just going to be sending these radio wave pulses into the water, which are increasing the plant's efficiency of photosynthesis. So we're really taking everything that you're already doing on your farm and we're just enhancing it and making it better, because at the end of the day, all the fertilizer you're using and all those pesticides are all those things which are designed to help the plants. If the plant's not efficient at utilizing the resources and water and sunlight and everything that are there, then of course that you're always going to be fighting that to increase yield. You're always going to be fighting the natural elements. What our system is actually doing is helping improve the plant's efficiency, especially when you have low light situations like cloudy weather or rainy weather, when you have situations where you have extreme heat, which would normally shut down photosynthesis. Those types of weather fluctuations are the biggest reason why farmers tell us they have a good year or a bad year or a medium year or an okay year or a completely lousy year or a disaster year. A lot of those huge fluctuations in terms of yield and profitability for farmers really has to do with the fact that there's so many variables and so many fluctuations, that especially weather fluctuations, that contribute to poor yield. And if you're not accounting for those fluctuations, you're always in that battle against Mother Nature in some of those cases where you're having to fight against insects, against funguses, against disease. And what our system is helping the plants do is stay healthy even in those stress conditions, so that the overall energy output of the plant stays pretty consistent. Whereas normally, if this is your normal, with untreated field, if it gets cloudy, all of a sudden your photosynthesis drops and it comes back up again, and then it gets super hot and then it drops down again for a few weeks until it cools off, and then it comes back again. What our system is, it keeps that energy production at a high rate even in those stress conditions. So when you have a healthy plant that's producing a lot of energy, you get more yield just naturally. You don't have to have special GMO or special genetics in the plant. The plant will produce more yield on its own. You don't have to have a ton of fertilizer, especially nitrogen fertilizer, and just dousing the soil all the time. You don't have to have a tremendous amount of pesticides, because the plant's natural defense mechanisms, when it's healthy, will fend off those insects. Those insects will go elsewhere for their meal. They're going to go to where there's less healthy plants than the ones that you're growing. You don't have to worry as much about weeds, because the soil health, the microbial activity in the soil is going to help retard and limit weed growth, and the crops are going to grow faster as well. So they'll choke out the weeds instead of the other way around. So there's a tremendous number of benefits that occur when you can just treat the plant and make the plant super healthy and super efficient. So if you think about all the research and all the development and all of the things that you're doing on your farm to make your farm successful on a consistent basis, the Cheminoxy Plant Booster is just going to back that up and reinforce all of those good activities. So if you're already doing well on your farm, you're going to do even better. If you have some serious challenges that are really reducing your profitability or your yield, the Cheminoxy Plant Booster is going to help mitigate and reduce those negative factors so that you can get a consistent good yield every year. And we want to work with every farmer. I don't want to just limit myself to the organic guys. I want to help the conventional guys utilize less petrochemicals, and because you'll find out that you don't really need them as much. And I think that's really where innovation has to lie in any field. Any field that seeks any kind of innovative product in any industry, that seeks to buck the system and completely change the system and forces radical changes in the way things are done are very slow to adopt, if they adopt at all. With our system, the farmer doesn't really have to change what they're doing dramatically. We just tell the farmer, look, install our system and start and just measure the results. When you take a look and you measure consistently the results, you do your soil tests, you do your sap analysis, you do your tissue samples, you take a look at your field, you're going to notice, hey, I don't need to add as much fertilizer. I don't need to go out and and utilize pesticides because the insect pressure is not very serious. I don't have to spray these chemicals on my crops. You're going to see that, hey, I don't have to go and spray fungicide on my crops all the time because the plants don't have a significant fungus problem, and a lot of other things. So if you can farm without using petrochemicals, I mean, those are a costly input, right? They're a big part of the cost of inputs. I talked to a guy today who said that some farmers are spending $9,000 an acre where he's at per hectare, on just pesticides and chemicals. I said, can you imagine if they cut that in half? You'd more than pay for my device, and our system will cut that in half because unless you have serious health problems or serious soil problems, you shouldn't be running into insects like that. And that's what's really caused some of these pandemics in certain industries like citrus greening and other types of diseases that run rampant. It's because the soil is not that healthy and there's too much petrochemicals being used, which are depleting the soil's natural energy. The Kemonoxia plant booster is helping to restore that natural energy in the soil, restore that natural energy in the plant, and then the plant and the soil will work together to really make your life a lot easier. So wouldn't you rather grow in a more natural way that's going to improve the quality and quantity of your output with less input costs? I mean, I don't think there's a farmer out there who doesn't want that. The big question is, do you want to see it for yourself? Do you want to see it for yourself or do you want to wait? That's really the only choice here with Kemonoxia Plant Booster, because at the end of the day, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, everybody's going to be using this technology anyway, because you're not going to be able to stay competitive if you don't. That's just the bottom line. So I'm offering you guys the opportunity to take advantage of innovation. If you want to do a small trial, if you don't want to invest in your whole farm, hey, I get it. Let's set you up with a small trial and let you see it on your farm so you can see the results yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take other farmers' word for it. You don't have to take the university white paper's word for it. You can just see it on your own farm. It's a very small investment to run small trials, and we work with farmers anyway. And of course, what we always do is we say we have a money-back guarantee. Now, the reality is we know that our technology works. We know that you're going to see results. We know that you're going to make a lot more money with this. And so we say, just to ease your mind, if you have a concern about it, whether you can get the same results that all these other farmers have been getting with this technology, just to put your mind at ease, we say, look, we offer to take the risk away. If you don't make more money with Kemonoxia Plant Booster than the cost of our system, we will reimburse you the difference. We'll give you the difference. So the worst thing you can do by trying our product is break even. But the best you can do is turn yourself on to an innovative product that could literally transform everything you're doing and change agriculture as you know it. It'll take everything that you're doing right on your farm and just make it better. And it'll help any mistakes or any other problems that may not be going as well for you. And it will really help reduce those problems as well. Doesn't it make sense to at least give it a try? I mean, make 2022 the year where you're actually turning your farm around. You're making your life a lot easier. You're making your farm a lot more profitable, and you're leaving something for future generations, not just in terms of your farm and passing it on to your children and that kind of thing, but you're really leaving a footprint on future generations where you're part of a farming methodology that does not use chemicals, it does not use GMOs, it does not use some of these toxic substances that we're pumping into the environment, and will allow everybody to eat healthier, breathe healthier, and be healthier overall. So I invite you guys to join us on our journey to improve agriculture worldwide. I invite you to take a step and a leap forward to seeing how profitable your farm really can be by using this next technology. And of course, I look forward to speaking with most of you guys soon. If you guys want to get a free quote, you can also go to our website at harvestharmonics.com. There's a request for a quote form. We can also schedule a time where you can meet with us one-on-one to discuss the particular issues that you're having on your farm and how the Kemonoxia Plant Booster can help you with that. And of course, we would love to answer whatever questions you may have. So I want to thank you so much for joining us again today on the innovations in agriculture. And if you are in agriculture, you have innovative products and services. We want to hear from you too. We'd love to interview you on this show. We would love to expand this to more than just Kiminasi and Harvest Harmonics, because yes, we have probably the most innovative agricultural product in the world. Yet there's a lot of other things that can really work and really help farmers out. And of course, we want to help as many farmers as we can, not just with our amazing products, but with some of the other amazing products that are out there as well. So if you have a product like this that can really improve and enhance farming, we would love to interview on our show. And I invite you guys to give us a call or send us a request for quote. And we'd love to work with you as well. But that's really all we got today. I'm going to keep today's episode fairly short, but we'll be back again on Monday to talk more about innovations in farming and how to make your farm more profitable. And of course, the Kiminasi Plant Booster and this revolution in agriculture, which is going to make farming so much easier, so much more productive, and so much more profitable for farmers around the world. I look forward to talking with you again next week, and have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.